you wild pranksters out there. It's your two favorite imposters here for Cinephellas. I am Logan Myers. That's my good mate over there.
And I'm Henry Hill, and tonight we're back to review the brand new comedy from one of the Farrelly brothers, Peter Farrelly. We're talking about a comedy after all these years. It's been a long time since there's been a comedy like this movie. It skipped theaters, it went straight to Prime Video, and we are talking about Zac Efron and John Cena, and don't forget Cheeto Santino there in Ricky Stanicky.
Out of our sight. Not only did I miss the birth of my son, but I let some porno Peter Frampton impersonator snip his...
And we're done.
Stanicky, you are unbelievable.
Show's over, Rod. It's Ricky.
Ricky Stanicky isn't real.
My job sucked. I had no friends. But now I have all those things.
Are you a fraud, sir?
What are you talking about?
We gotta get rid of him.
Oh my God, Ricky Stanicky. Remember seeing this trailer and thinking, man, this movie's going to be wild. And it pretty much is. This movie just debuted recently on Prime Video. We got the chance to check it out. And man, what a great time. What a great raunchy comedy, something we haven't seen in a minute, and just laughing from start to finish at the ridiculousness. But essentially the setup is the three friends. You have Dean, JT, and Wes, played by Zac Efron, Andrew Santino, otherwise known as Cheeto. And you have Jermaine Fowler, their young friend. It's Halloween. They pull a prank. It goes wrong. And basically house starts on fire, and they take off and they found a pair of underwear, and they write Ricky Stanicky on it. Blame their imaginary friend they made up, when the fire department cops show up, and then sets up the character, their imaginary friend they always kind of blame. And then eventually 20 years later, fast forward, they're adults and they're still doing the same old stuff and bringing Ricky Stanicky into that situation.
And who is Ricky Stanicky, you ask? Well, it's none other than the former WWE superstar turned actor / comedian John Cena, in the role of a lifetime in this. Just completely off the chains in this movie. Just gets to show every sort of, comedic side to him here. Playing, Ricky Stanicky, playing this guy that, the older version of those kids are still, pranking along and telling their spouses that he's still a real person, basically. And, they make it John Cena's character in the movie, who is this singer that they meet. And basically he dresses up like famous people, and he has these special songs that he sings, all having to do with, a form of masturbation. But each one of those were, some of the highlights of the movies. I laughed so many times during some of these performances there, where he's dressed up as Britney Spears. He does Alice Cooper, Devo, and we won't spoil any of those for you, but those songs are really hilarious, and just, something that'll make you spit out your drink if you're taking a drink of water when he hits the scene here. But yeah, a fully comedic performance here. All these friends, they feel like they're a close group, knit group of friends here, like, us with our friends, me and you and our buddies, how we kind of joke with each other, and our relationship of, making up certain situations. It plays just like an older comedy. And it's directed by one of the Farrelly brothers, Dumb and Dumber, Kingpin. And it really feels like a throwback to that sort of 90s raunchy comedy that we haven't had too much of these past 20 years.
Yeah, I was thinking 90s and 2000s, like that era. Just raunchy comedies, just silly, out there. They're made for you to laugh, take your mind off the long day, sit back, relax, have a good time with it. That's basically what we got with this. This is a fun ride. Having, John Cena play Rock Hard Rod and all the different costumes, all about masturbation. He's a big drunk, these guys, Dean, JT, and Wes meet him, does the whole spiel about Rock Hard Rod and how he's a performer, and they end up using him later on when they get into some trouble. Essentially, they're always using, Ricky Stanicky as like a handy alibi for their immature behavior, and it all comes to bite them in the ass. Friends and family, they've heard about Ricky Stanicky for 20 years, but they've never met him, so they have to figure out how they're going to play this, how they're going to bring this imaginary person to life, and they're bringing Rock Hard Rod, John Cena, playing this character. He has the playbook of Ricky Stanicky, like his personality, his growing up, his family, and everything he's done in his life, so he has to memorize it as an actor. And he comes in, guns a-blazing when he finally shows up and meets the rest of the people. John Cena really steals the show in this movie.
He absolutely does. And you have Zac Efron there playing like the co-lead, who's really the straight man in this. He doesn't really play it too comedic. He's kind of like the guy that's trying to be sensible and make sure things go smoothly with the spouses and everything. And you have Zac Efron. I don't know when this was shot, but he looks more like he did before the huge muscle mass gain for Iron Claw and before the accident. I don't know when this was shot, if that was shot before the accident, but he looked like he did before, like he had jaw damage and just was jacked to the gills. He looks more normal in this role, and he plays that character Dean in this movie, who's kind of the straight friend. And then you have Tito Santino, who's of course a well-known comedian, and a really funny character in this too. He brings his comedic sense too. If you've ever listened to any of his podcasts or seen any of his stand-up, he's a really naturally funny guy and a really good actor too, a believable actor. He's not over the top or anything. He just always has really funny, quirky, silly things to say in this. And all the characters play well off each other. As you mentioned before, Rock Hard Rod, John Cena, as he's going through this and he has to pretend he's Ricky Stanicky, towards the end, it like almost comes back to bite him in the ass and they kind of almost figure him out. But the way he plays it and his acting in this, he really does a good job, because he kind of turns the tables at the last second. You think he's going to get found out, but he kind of flips the tables and everybody like becomes really impressed with them. And they really give him like this second opportunity, whereas it looks like everybody's going to find out who he really is, but you really find out he's actually a good guy. He's a drunk, of course, but he's working through some things. He's not just like a loser or anything. So a really tremendous performance by John Cena, really memorable. Of course, being the peacemaker, we've seen him play comedy, but this one is really his time to shine, and one of his my favorite performances from him for sure.
Yeah, the way that his character changes throughout the movie is really fantastic. How he starts off as really like an alcoholic person you can't trust, to one of the guys, like one of the best friends, how he works his way into their lives and becomes his character, changing his name and really evolving into this playbook and becoming this great person, the person they're always talking about that's been around for 20 years. He really plays into that. It has a lot of heart, obviously a lot of great comedy, but the entire cast really works great in this movie. Zac Efron, Cheeto, as you were saying, recently getting into his stuff, the Bad Friends podcast I've been watching and listening to lately. Love it. And then Bobby. And of course, he had Jermaine Fowler in this movie as well. I thought he was really fantastic as Wes. They all had different relationships going on, and, their escape is with Ricky Stanicky and getting into trouble, and really sets up a really great second and third act. Again, the comedy is so great in this. This is, a movie I'd probably rewatch again. It was just so funny. And a movie you guys should definitely check out. It's worth your time. Peter Farrelly directing this, no stranger to the comedy genre. And he returns with this brand new movie, and a movie we've needed for some time. We needed this raunchy comedy and had a great time with it. So that being said, I'm going to give Ricky Stanicky, now streaming on Prime Video, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 Zac Efron hairpieces.
This was a much needed comedy for me. I've been waiting for a movie like this for a long time, and it's on Prime Video. So most people have Amazon Prime, so it'll come with your streaming service. Watch this movie. I saw it went to #1 over the weekend. So word of mouth, was strong with this, and it's for a good reason. It's really funny. We think you guys will really enjoy this. It's really silly and a throwback to the comedies that we've been lacking here for the past, 10, 15 years at least. A throwback to the 90s and early 2000s, like you said. Some awesome performances in here. Everybody was really great in their roles here. A really funny scene involving a circumcision towards the end. There's some really laugh out loud scenes in this. And we both needed a good comedy, and we finally got it here with Ricky Stanicky. So with that being said, I'm too going to give Ricky Stanicky a 4 out of 5 Cheeto Santino hair pieces.
So I want to hear from you guys. What did you guys like about Ricky Stanicky? What didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out these wild boys on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news, and reviews.
So thank you guys so much for watching our review of the brand new comedy from Peter Farrelly, streaming now on Prime Video, Ricky Stanicky. Until the next Cinephellas movie review, I'm Uncle Henry Efron.
And I'm Dorito Myers signing out until the next movie review.
Cheers.